there's been a move that has been happening in the music industry where a lot of these record companies in the US have been getting rid of let me see if I find an article. Layoffs. Major music. Let me see. I think WMG and also what's their name? Atlantic Records. They've been laying off a lot of people, right? And I mean, we are arriving at a very interesting point in content creation. Because look at this show. I have a camera, a light, and a microphone, and some lights, and an internet connection. And I can do something that if we go back 20 years ago, to be able to do a live show like this, you needed to have a studio worth $1 million to be able to speak to people. And you would have to speak to people on a local level. And listen, put the flags of where you're watching from, and you will see that you have Gilmar, that is, I believe it's São Tomé. You have people watching from Brazil. You have people watching from France. You have people watching from the UK, Portugal, from everywhere in the world, right? And you are reaching, I think tonight we're about 1,000 people. You are reaching all these people from your home or your studio or something. Now imagine if you are a traditional TV network or a traditional music label. For you, it's not like back in the days. Back in the days, you make the rules because the only way to release music is through you. The only way to be able to tell the news to people is from a TV channel, a news network, etc., etc. CNN, Fox News, TF1, RTB1, RTBF1, RTP. And nowadays, not only anybody can create a show and talk about something, but anybody can create music or content. We just talk about all these young girls that create OnlyFans and they make a business out of being cute or being nice looking or having tattoos or whatever they do. They have a following that is willing to pay to see the content. And we have seen it with the election of the last election in the US, how bringing Beyonce on stage was not enough. I mean, she was a bad candidate, but anyway, it was not just, oh, I have celebrities and I have $1 billion to spend. It was not enough. What was more effective was going to podcast, going on YouTube, being on X or Blue Sky, etc., etc. So we are arriving in a world where the internet completely changed the nature of content and content creation and content distribution. There's been a pure disruption of all that. So the reason why all these labels are laying off is because at a point they realize that there's a lot of people that they don't need anymore. And they also realize that they don't really need to do the, how do I call this? They don't really need to work on artists' careers. Like artist development, back in the days, that was a thing. It was like you sign somebody for 5 albums and you're not trying to do success on the go. You're trying to make the artist grow slowly by slowly, amass fans, etc., etc. Nowadays, most people, when girl starts an OnlyFans, they already have like a ton of followers on TikTok or Instagram that are telling them, hey, if you start an OnlyFans, I'll be there. I'll put money. And it's the same thing for artists. When they get in the music industry and they sign with a label, they already have millions of followers, millions of songs that are playing on the streaming services, and they record from home, and the label actually comes to do a partnership. And I believe all these labels are starting to realize, listen, there's so many artists, there's so much content out there, and everybody's competing for the same 24 hours. Actually, the real money is in distribution. I believe those people are more interested in doing distribution than doing artist development. Because if you think about it, if you are DistroKid or Believe Digital or one of these platforms, and you have you have 1 million different artists on your platform. If those 1 million artists generate in a total every month $10 million, and you have a contract where you distribute their music and in exchange you take 20%, there you go, you're good. You make 2 million every month, the rest is not your problem. You don't pay for videos, you don't do this, and they realize that it's actually an effective business to just be the middleman between Kaysha and Spotify, Kaysha and iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Deezer, whatever is the companies in India, China, etc., etc. And that's what is going on right now. They are laying off people because in this new world where it's more and more AI, it's more and more automatic and artificial intelligence, you actually don't need to have all these people working on the artist. So there's a transformation in a lot of these teams. Instead of working for the music industry, they are now working for artists, because artists are just like me. We are either one-man army, or you have your team that you pay and they do the same thing for you, and the label is just distributing and giving you money advances. So yeah, that's very interesting what is going on right now. And we are seeing something you just said, Derek, is important. Platforms will always win. It's simple as that. They have built the infrastructure to support all that. Exactly. Labels and TV stations are losing to the big platforms. Amazon, Microsoft with Azure, Amazon with AWS. That's the backbone of the internet. And then the social media platforms, like if it's for showing your body, OnlyFans, showing the food you eat, Instagram, family stuff, Facebook, talking about giving your opinion, Twitter, Blue Sky, Truth Social, Mastodon, etc. Dancing and stuff, TikTok, going live to your people, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X. You can go anywhere. And actually, what is happening right now is that we are at the final transformation of the world where who is way more powerful than the major labels and the TV stations are Silicon Valley big companies. That's where we are right now. Those companies are so powerful that they are now in. Listen, all you had to see was Tyson versus Jake Paul on Netflix. Normally, this should have been pay-per-view on ESPN or HBO or one of these platforms. And now, it's on Netflix. The world is changing completely. Love you too, Amelia. Derek is saying they have already won. People are not ready for what's coming on 2025. Yep. Listen, they won years ago. Not even 5-10 years ago. I was telling people, hey, listen. I remember having a conversation with an actor. And I was telling him in the future. So the conversation, we were in Paris, probably in 2007 or 2008. And I was telling him, yo, listen, soon as the internet is fast enough and people have flat TV screens that don't cost 50,000 like back then, but they cost like 1,000 to have a 90-inch TV in your living room, movies are dead. The act of going to the cinema to watch movies is gonna be dead. Maybe people will go out for blockbusters, but for most movies, they will stay at home. And this actor was yelling in my head, the cinema is not the same as music, blah, 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 blah. I said, listen, anytime something can be turned into zeros and ones and be turned into a file that can be transmitted from a server to where you are, whatever happened to us in the music industry will happen to you in the movies industry. Maybe not the same way, but it will happen. And this guy was yelling to me. Listen, I just met the guy at a point where I was like, yo, calm down. I know you're emotional, but chill. Listen, I wish I could sit down with that person today, because I was talking to my wife and I was telling her, hey, listen, we have to go see Gladiator at the cinema. And she told me, let's just wait a week. Let's just wait a week or two and we can rent it on Apple TV. And look now, a lot of movies are coming out directly on Netflix. And when I look at my wife and her sister, what they do. So in the living room here on my office, I have a 75-inch. That's where I watch my stuff. But in the living room, we have an 85. The 85, when you turn off the lights, you order some popcorns at the movies, and you get on our big sofa, it's better than the movies. It's better than going to the cinema in reality. And what people don't understand is that if you have 30 years of habits, you will consume content in your way because you were raised this way. But if you are like my daughter, who's 7, and since she's a baby, she had an iPad, and she all she knows is I watch what I want when I want. I can search for what I want to watch because she's native to that, not like us. Me, I used to take girls to the movies. It was part of my plan. But this generation, when they want to watch something, they just go and watch it. So I'm not saying movies, cinemas are gonna die. I'm just saying that this experience is not the same. Listen, I used to go to the movies 4 times a week. Today, bro, I have so many stuff to watch. I have Amazon Prime, I have Netflix, I have Apple TV, I have Disney Plus, I have Max, and I have the Brazilian one, Globo. Then I have the Portuguese stuff. Then I have the IPTV. There's way too much content at my disposal. Sometime for me to say to myself, listen, at the end of Club Shada, let me go see Gladiator. No, I'm gonna wait for this to arrive directly to me. I'll put some popcorns in the microwave, or I will order some fresh popcorn from the movies, and I'll watch the movie at home. And I'll rent it for $4 and we'll watch family. That's what we do now. New ways of interacting with content, new ways of consuming content, and new ways of distributing content changed the whole game. And when I was telling to artists back in the days about music, do this, do singles, do that, have YouTube channels, most of these people didn't listen to me. And today they're all crying. And they're all jealous of when they see younger artists that are taking their place. Not their place, but you see what I mean. The big corporations and the big tech corporations are more powerful than states. And this is just step 2 or 3. There's going to be a point where, listen, Facebook has more power than all the propaganda that you want. TikTok has more power than all the propaganda that you want. That's why these states are trying to control them, because they realize that, listen, they have an access to people that we don't have. So imagine. What up, Aven? Mr. E, what up? Danny, Bizou, thanks for the roses. Derek, they have recently announced, they recently introduced AI agents. I can tell you it's insane what that thing can do. Yeah, listen, that's something else too. Me, these AI agents, I didn't dive in yet, but I'm gonna look at what they can do for me and how they can make me money. Help me trade my crypto, help me write lyrics, produce content, promote content to the right people. All these things, like, you listen, the motto of my label, Sushi Raw, is innovate, adapt, or perish. And that's the world we are. The people who say, oh yeah, back in the days, bro, that's cool to remember, but you have to always reinvent yourself for the current and the tomorrow. So yeah, it is what it is. Listen,